Hi folks, Tim here, and welcome back to From 8 to 38, the Chronicles of a Young Entrepreneur. Well, today we're going to be discussing a little bit of a touchy subject, and that is how to get along with your competition. Now, every business has competition of some sort or another, and we've worked really hard to not badmouth our competition and to work well with our competition. And sometimes that means working well with people who might only live a couple miles away from you. And the circles that we service are actually very close, and they overlap really tightly. Now, a lot of you have seen Glenn in some of our videos, and he does some of the same work that I do, but our circles don't overlap that much. Our service areas don't overlap that much. So we're actually able to help each other out. And when I get a phone call for an area that he services or for the type of work that he does, I'm very happy to hand that work or that reference off to him. And you've seen Andrew and Michelle a couple times in our videos, especially in the live feed of the Maple House, the Sugar House. And they run A&M Property Management out in Kingston. And our circles really don't cross at all. They might touch a little bit out in the Shokan area, but anytime I get a call from West Hurley or Woodstock or Kingston area, I make sure to pass that on to Andrew and Michelle. And they do the same thing for me out here in the town of Olive. So even though we are in competition with each other, we really get along well. And that's tough, it's tricky, it's something that takes a long time to build up. There's a lot of guys that are mowing lawns and doing landscaping work in our area. And for the most part, we all work pretty well together, even though, yes, business is business at the end of the day. And do we take lawns from each other? Do we take jobs from each other? Yes, we do. But a lot of times there's communication that happens behind the scenes that most people don't see. So we'll give a couple examples. One of them is a gentleman that's been in the business for a long time, just as long as I have, and he's a bit older than me. He's starting to wind down a little bit at this point, but over the last few years we've talked a lot more, and we actually mow lawns almost in hopscotch style, where he'll mow a lawn and then I'll mow one, and then he'll mow one and I'll mow one, all the way up the road. You know, that's something where you could look at it and say, boy, I really wish I had, you know, this next lawn that he has, then I'd have 3 in a row, things like that. But we're in a kind of unique position at this point where none of us really need a lot of work. And it's much better, in my mind and in the mind of so many of these other guys that are running the businesses around town, to have a good relationship with our competition. And that's worth more than trying to steal a lawn or steal a project from somebody. So that's something that's really important. It's something that takes a long time to build up. It takes a while to be able to trust some of your competition. I've had a couple gentlemen's agreement with other landscapers out there that I don't steal his, he doesn't steal mine. And that has worked really well. Has it been broken by other people in the past? Yes, absolutely. But we're going to pull in a little bit of some of the other videos that I've done, which is the hard work and dedication and honesty and integrity. Now, being able to be honest and having integrity in running your business is really important. Your competition will see it, and they'll either respect you for it, or maybe it will scare them. It's definitely something that happens. And another thing, as far as integrity goes, be very cautious not to run your mouth about another business. And that really should be something that all of us can learn in our day-to-day lives, not even just running a business. But it's not right to run your mouth about someone personally or their business. And let's be really honest here. If somebody is that bad at running their business and they're doing that horrible of a job, you probably don't have to tell your clients or maybe their clients who are calling you just how bad of a job they're doing. Because if they're really doing that bad of a job, then their clients know it and your clients know it and everybody else already knows it. So you don't have to further drag their name into it or anything like that. It'll actually help you in the long run when you're very honest if they ask a question about the person or the business, but don't drag their name through the mud at the same time. And it definitely takes practice to be able to do that. I've seen many businesses over the years that have failed, and many times it is from poor workmanship or a real poor quality of work. But they didn't fail because other contractors were dragging their names through the mud. Those businesses failed because their customer base, their clients, just wouldn't put up with it anymore. So trying to get a new customer or a new client or a whole list of clients by talking bad about another person or another business is not the way to go. And that's something that's really, really important. It's something that we work really hard to not do with our business. It's something that I think is wrong. And, people will ask me, what do you think of this person or that business or this business? And even when you disagree with something that that person is doing, you can say, I'd rather not comment. Or maybe you can look at some of the good things that they've done rather than all the bad that the person you're talking about is focusing on. So those are just a couple thoughts as far as that goes. It is tough. It's difficult. It's time consuming learning how to interact with these other businesses in your service area. Now, I look at competition as being a good thing, and I don't always like it. There's many, many times where I wish I didn't have as much competition for certain projects. But the other side of it is it does help keep everyone honest. And if you had no competition, you could just make up whatever number you wanted for the work that you're doing or the work that you're bidding. It might only be a $150 one, but when nobody else is around, you can charge $300. And that's not honest. So we're, again, pulling back in on the honesty and integrity thing. Competition is a good thing. It helps keep us all honest, but make sure you do not drag your competition's name through the mud. You don't have to do it. If they're actually that bad, their business is going to fold up anyway. So it's not something you have to be involved in, not something you should be involved in. And I would say it's something that you never, ever want to be involved in. You do not want to be involved in dragging another person's business name through the mud or their business through the mud. Not a good idea. It's just not the right thing to do. And that's where different morals kick in as well. So we've got a pretty good group of businesses right here where I work. I've made a lot of friends. Even though they're competition, I've still made a lot of friends. And we've actually had several cases in the last couple years where a client is looking to move on from the person that is working for them. And I always ask, when we go into a new job, I ask the person that I'm meeting with, our potential client, I say, hey, who is doing this job for you right now? Who's doing your lawn? Who's doing your snow plowing or leaf cleanup? Whatever it is that we're being asked to do, and why aren't they continuing? And sometimes it's that the person is getting older and they're starting to pull back on what they do. And the customer or our potential client wants more of a full service. They want the mowing and the snow plowing and the leaf blowing, and the contractor that's working for them right now can no longer provide all of those services. Other times it's that there is a personality conflict. There's so many different variables, but oftentimes, especially in a small town where we all communicate quite well, I can meet with that person, find out what's going on, and when I get done with the meeting, I can get on the phone with whoever it is that was working there or is still working there and call them and say, hey, this person who is currently working with you has called me to ask me to bid on this job. And I wanted to let you know that they're shopping around, but I would like the opportunity to bid on it if you no longer want it. And a couple times the person has said, well, I really would like to continue to work on this property. And I was actually able to go back to this potential client and say, hey, this individual who's working for you would really like to still work on the property. Maybe you could talk with them and come to an agreement of the quality of work that you would like from them. And many times that has worked out to the advantage of the homeowner and the contractor that I know. And doing things like that really helps secure your name as somebody who is honest and has integrity. It means a lot. The client base gets to know you and trust you, and the other contractors in the area do the same. Other times, the potential client wants to make a break from the contractor that's providing the service, no matter what the reason is given. And what I will do in that case is I will talk with the contractor and find out about what they're charging somewhere in there to make sure that I don't undercut, because I don't want to undercut someone who needs this income to provide for their family. So if the person that I'm bidding against is bidding it at 80, I want to make sure that I'm bidding the same job at 80 or maybe even a little bit higher, because one of the things to look at with that is if a potential client has come to us because they're unhappy with the quality of service, that means whatever they're paying can actually go up as long as the service that you provide is a greater quality than what they currently have. So if they're paying $80 for the service and we offer the same service at $100, many times the client will go with us because the quality of service is better than what they're currently getting. So that's a way to work around some of these things and not undercut, not try to steal lawns. For many years, I have worked in the exact same neighborhoods as many other landscapers and many other lawn care providers, and we mow on the same days, we park our trucks next to each other. And is it awkward at times? Yeah, it definitely is. But all in all, we get along pretty well. We work hard, we help each other. You know, I've been stuck plowing snow a couple times, and my competition has seen me stuck at the end of a parking lot at 2 o'clock in the morning and pulled in and pulled me out of the snowbank when nobody else was around. And I've driven by a lawn and seen my competition stuck, sunk in mud with their zero turn. I stop, I pull them out, we shake hands, hey, have a great day, and we continue on. That's a really important relationship to be able to have. Yes, we're all in competition. Yes, business is business, but honesty and integrity is key. And being able to deal like that and carry that attitude through with your competition is super important. So those are a couple thoughts about dealing with your competition and making some friends with some of them. I would definitely recommend having some friends in the same circle that you're in. If you mow lawns, have friends that mow lawns. And a similar area, but not circles that touch, or if they do touch, just kind of graze almost. Having some friends that do the same work, have the same machinery, gives you a network to lean on and a sounding board. I know my buddies and I call each other when we're plowing snow all the time, and we'll just chat for 15 or 20 minutes, keep each other awake, check on each other. And it's really nice to know that at 2 o'clock in the morning, when my competition drives by, that they'll pull me out of a ditch. And if I need something, like what you might have seen with our truck video that we posted Saturday night, my buddy and his wife went up and picked up our dump truck, and they brought it back to my house. Now, him and his wife, technically, we are in the exact same business. Technically, they're our competition. But we get along so well. We're great friends. And that is the kind of relationship you want to build with your competition. You need to have friends that are in the same business that you can discuss ideas with, discuss pricing with, and you want to have some friends that you trust well enough that you can bring to your biggest contract and say, hey, this is what I'm currently getting. I'm thinking of changing it to this. What do you think? That's the kind of information that could actually shut a business down. And being able to have some people that you trust that much is so, so important. And that was why I wanted to bring this up tonight, because, fresh in my mind. They picked up my truck, they brought it down here, and we went and looked at jobs together earlier this week. So just a great thing to have is friends that are actually competition, if that makes sense. But that is what this segment's about, getting along with your competition, how to deal with your competition, and just how important it is. And please make sure you do not drag your competition's name through the mud with potential clients. It's really not a good idea. It's not something you want to get involved in, and it will get noticed either in a positive light or a negative light if you do it or you don't do it. It's something that will follow you, and even if you try to get rid of it years later, it's always there. So those are my thoughts for today. Thank you for watching from 8 to 38, the Chronicles of a Young Entrepreneur, and make sure to tune in next Monday for our newest video. Have a great day.